Hey guys, we're going to be using paper towels to paper mache, and I have this collection or a bunch of this brown stuff. I want to show you how we can tear little bits of it apart. I'm going to fold it, come up towards that end. I'll probably put it together and just sort of go through that way. Now we actually want these torn because when paper macheing, these soft edges will disappear much better than other ones. So what I've done is I've torn it into strips, and then I can tear it down into some smaller bits. And I think you'll see why we do that. I might keep some long pieces around because sometimes we want to wrap those around. So you'll see that when I tear to the side with these, it's very unpredictable, which I don't necessarily mind. But when I tear it in this direction, it should go a lot better. Now, well, let's just see what we can do. All right. I have set a rice paste up here. I haven't used it much. Normally I use a wheat or a flour. But this comes recommended. And so what I'm going to do, and I've been using a number of things on this already. Since I'm not going to be with you, I wanted to show you a method for putting this on. So right now, I'm going to turn this. By the way, my figure is sitting, so you see that I constructed a small cardboard base for it. And so here's one of the things I'm going to do. Normally, we dip our paper into our paste, and we can do that now if you like, but it might be a little bit cleaner and easier if we do this. These are called chip pens or chip brushes. And the thing with chip brushes, they're really cheap, so I'm not too worried about it. I still want you to clean them up when we're done so that we can use them over for an entire week. So I can put the paper down, and then I should be able to work on it with the chip brush, but I don't like that. I think that it might be better to either put the paste down under it first. So here's what I'll do. I'll put the paste down under this, and then I'll put a piece of this paper on it. And notice I'm overlapping every layer. I overlap with something, and we want to normally get them going in different directions. So some are going across, some are going up and down. And this way, we sort of make it, well, like plywood. I'm gonna dip it a little bit again. We make it like that, and so when we get pieces going in different directions, when it dries, it becomes very strong. Now you might have noticed I already had some other paper towels on there, but I still think we probably want to have minimum of 3 layers on there. Normally, traditionally, we use discarded newspaper, but I think I've told you guys that it's so much harder to find the newspaper now. Now when I get over to the arm, in order to transition across here, I might do it with this piece just so we can see what it does. I'm going to put some of this paste on there. By the way, I hope you also notice that I have covered my table. We have lots of cardboard and several different kinds of paper, and this stuff is pretty messy. It might be a good idea to cover your surface well so that you can, well, so you don't have to clean up so much later on. Now notice what I'm doing with the chip brush and my fingers is to cause this to lay down so I'm not getting a lot of really crazy wrinkles that I won't be able to work with later on. One thing you might have noticed, we have these, I have some long pieces which can go down the arm in this direction, and I might do that, but remember we want to go in different directions or change up occasionally for strength. So I'm putting this on and I'm overlapping. I might go ahead and just tear that off. Now in order to go in another direction, I might take a piece like this and I'll be able to wrap around the arm. But I want to be clear that we don't just wrap around the arm, because then we'll have a weak joint at the shoulder, and we don't want that. We want the back to overlap the shoulder to overlap the arm, so that when we do go a little bit around the arm like this, we already have a structure underneath which is going to be quite strong. I would be careful about getting too big, but let's just see what happens. I mean, sometimes it might be a mistake, but if it gets to be too much, I can always tear a little bit off. Especially when it's wet, this stuff tears pretty nice. So what I did was I tore it there so I could sort of take a corner. Now that's the cool thing about this paper, is it's so soft that even if I get some wrinkles in it, I can normally smooth them out. Now you might notice that I've taken, oh, what's that? That I started doing the thighs with a paper clay, but it was so touchy that I felt the need to overlap them. And so I've come back, I've overlapped them in this direction and in the other direction. We will use the paper clay later on, but we'll be able to add details to the clothing. You know, we'll be able to put collars and belts or belt loops or things like that on there if we need to. But we shouldn't have to worry about the detail right now. We want to keep the anatomy correct. But even if it gets away from us a little bit, we might still be able to repair it later. So sometimes we do what I call surgery, where when we come back to this the next day after it's dried, if one of the thighs is too fat or too flat, we can start putting some clay onto it, or even using a knife to carve it away. All right, I am going to continue on this, but that's about what I wanted you to see. So remember this, we have some aprons over by the sink if you want to protect your clothing. I'll try to have some scrap paper and plastic around the class so you can protect the tables. And we have a whole bunch of cardboard over underneath under our tool cupboard, the cupboard where we're keeping all of our supplies. Please, at the end of the hour, clean your tables well. Remember to clean your chip brushes. You can clean them in the sink. Let's not dump our paste down the sink. This stuff is really cool because we can just cover it and leave it on the counter, and it'll still be good tomorrow. Thanks, guys. All right, so remember I told you that we should either leave our loop for our head or one of the loops for the toes or the hands visible, because afterwards, like I might be able to leave this sitting on my box if I have space somewhere to let that dry. But what I'm hoping a lot of you will do, this could be helpful. Over on this hanger, we have a number of little hooks, and they're designed to go over the pipes. I'm too short to reach the back pipe, but I'm maybe going to try. And we just want to put these up. Oh God! Oh, we just want to put those up so that so they can dry. And then when you put yours up next to it, try not to slide them all together, you know, because we don't want them to paste themselves to each other.